Hi YouTube. I know it's been a while. I hope you enjoyed your summer. I enjoyed my summer as well, but it went by way too quick, as I'm sure you'll agree. It's September now, so that means my wife is pestering me for some more projects. So I came into the shop. I haven't been in here in several weeks, and it was a mess. It's just a mess. And one thing about this shop, again, for those of you who haven't been following along, this is a converted greenhouse. It's no longer being used as a greenhouse, and it's now my shop. So I don't have a lot of storage space in here. So I do have a couple of workbenches right here. I got these at I believe it was Home Depot back in the late 90s. I think they were 50 bucks a piece. You put them together with some nails and that was it. I do have, I have been using this workbench here, which is one of the fold-up variety. But again, that's a temporary solution, and I want to build a more permanent solution to my storage, so I could get all of this cleaned up. It's just a mess. I just don't have the drawers. And again, I don't need a 300-pound butcher block workbench, you know, for my storage needs. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a workbench similar to the ones behind us. We're going to be using some. We're going to be using 2x6 material. This should be a pretty easy project, and I think this is the type of project. Regardless of your skill set, I think you can still accomplish this relatively easy. It's really not that much involved. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that now. Okay, so the first step, we're going to make the top. So we're just going to grab our 2x6s. And this workbench is going to be 8 feet. The reason why I want it 8 feet instead of the 6 feet that I have behind here, so I don't have to do any cutting. It's as simple as that. And plus I can always use the space, right? So I got these 2x6 by 8 feet. They're 2x6s by 8 feet. I got these at Home Depot for $5.86, I believe. So pretty good deal. And yeah, this workbench is going to cost under $50, and that's including the hardware, the screws. So it's going to be relatively cheap. Okay, so behind me, the workbenches I have are 27 inches wide. These 5 2x6s are 27 3/4. So this workbench is going to be 3/4 of an inch proud compared to the old ones, and that's okay. I just don't want to cut it. You know, I don't need to have all workbenches the same width. Your needs may vary, of course, but for me, I'm just not going to cut them. And again, it's just a time-consuming thing that I don't need to do, so I'm not going to do it. And we're going to go ahead now. We're going to put a member on a 2x6 at the ends on either side and in the middle. Okay, so I have these 3 cross members, and again, they're going to go on the ends and in the middle. Now, it's hard to get a perfect 2x6 or 2x4 or 2x whatever, especially at the big box stores. Sometimes you get lucky, but again, it's difficult. But these actually look pretty decent from Home Depot. But they're still not quite perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab a clamp just to cinch these together as I screw them in. So I'm going to go ahead and get a clamp now. Okay, this is looking pretty decent. Something I can live with. So again, I'm just going to take this. We're going to screw this in with I got, these are 2x6s, which means they're 1.5 inches. So both of them together is going to be 3 inches. So you don't want to get 3-inch screws. So I got 2.5-inch screws, and that should be pretty perfect. That was number 2. Let's go one more. Okay, and that's the top. This is not an easy project. I mean, this is an easy project. This took, what, 20 minutes, if that. We have the bottom base is next. That's going to be a little more complicated, but again, it's really not that difficult. And I think anyone could do this with the typical tools that a homeowner has in their garage. Okay, so we just finished building the top of the workbench, and right now we're going to go ahead and we're going to build the base and the legs to support that top. So for the first thing I'm going to do is we got to figure out how tall these are. Alright, 33 inches exactly. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut up 4 legs that are 33 inches tall. Okay, I have 4 legs that are 33 inches tall. And again, this is going to be very crude. What we're going to do is we're going to draw. We're going to create a notch at the top. This right here is going to be the top of the legs. What we're going to do is we're going to create a notch for this cross member to fit inside, adding strength and stability. And again, this is not rocket surgery here. I don't know if you could see that. So this is the notch that we're going to carve out to accommodate our cross member. Again, adding strength and stability to the base. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut this out using a jigsaw. see how this looks. Now, it looks pretty darn good. So we're just going to go ahead and do all 4 of these right now. Okay, so we have the notch, the top notch cut out of the on all 4 legs, but we also have to do one more thing. We also have to cut a notch out for this bottom cross member, and this is a little trickier because it's not at the very end. It's right in the, you know, it's kind of in the middle. It's about right here. We have to cut a notch out for that bottom cross member. So what I'm going to do, again, it's not very scientific, but I'm going to go up one length of a 2x6. And then I'm going to trace the 2x6 for the notch I'm going to cut out. Okay, as I mentioned before, this is going to be a little trickier. I'm going to have to come in here with the jigsaw perpendicular on this line and on this line, and then I'm going to have to come in here at an angle, and I'm going to have to come back and just clean it up. Let's see how this works. Alright, not too bad. Nice and snug. Ugh. Okay, so we have our legs cut to length. We have the notches cut out on both sides to accommodate the cross members. Next step is to cut to length these cross members, and you have 2 on the top, and then you're going to have 4 going to width. The lengths, I misspoke earlier, these aren't exactly 8 feet long. The 2x6s, they weren't 8 feet, they were 92 3/4 inches long. So what I want to do, I want to, for these older workbenches, there's 15 inches on either side. So what I'm going to do is just 92 3/4 minus 30, that's 62 3/4. So I'm going to cut 2 of those at 62 3/4, and the width is 27 5/8. So I'm going to make 4 cross members at 27 5/8. And we'll go ahead and do that now. So I think everything I need to start assembling the base of the workbench. So let's get started. Okay, now we're ready to assemble the base. We have all our legs cut, we've had the notches cut out of them, we have the cross members cut to length. So now it's time to assemble the base unit to accommodate the tabletop. Now I know, I mentioned this is a quick and easy workbench, not a lot of time and effort is going into this. But one thing, you do want to make sure is you want to make sure everything is square, of course. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay. Hard part is just getting it square. Well, the hard part would be me. See what I mean? Okay, so now we have all the cross members in place on top, all 4 here and the 2 on the bottom. The next step, last step for the base, is to put some slats across the 2 bottom cross members, from that point to that point. And from outside to outside, it's 58 inches. I'm going to go ahead and cut the slats at 60 inches, so there's going to be an inch overhang. So we'll get started on that now. Okay, I cut these slats to length and I positioned them on the in between the cross members, the bottom cross members, and now we're just going to attach them to the base using some wood screws, 2.5 inch wood screws. I'm going to drill the holes first. Okay, the slats are in place. So the base is actually complete. The last and final step is to put the top on. This is pretty sturdy. Okay, last step. We're going to attach the tabletop to the base. Okay guys, we're done. That was pretty easy, and like I said earlier, it wasn't too complicated, wasn't that technical, and I gotta tell you, you know, everyone needs a workbench. You know, whether it's for your shop or in your garage or basement, whatever, everyone needs a workbench. And this, you know, it's not like my 300-pound or 250-pound butcher block workbench. You know, this is about 100 pounds, but I tell you, it is sturdy as heck. I mean, you're not going to move this. You could use a hand planer on this thing. You know, once I put a vise in here, you can use a hand planer. You can use a router. It's not moving. It's not going anywhere. So, and again, this is about 60 bucks. You know, and it took an afternoon to build, and it came out great, and I'm real pleased with it. And I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and if you did, hit the like button and also hit the subscribe button. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next time.